Good afternoon, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about chlorination. Now, till now we have studied various methods of analyzing, detecting bacteria present in water. Then we have discussed various tests that are used for analysis like MTDT, MFT. Then we have discussed water filtration methods where we have studied slow sand filters and rapid sand filters. Now today we are going to study the methods that are used for disinfection of water. What that is? Chlorination. Chlorination is the last and important step as far as water purification is considered. Okay, so for treatment of water on a large scale, chlorine is used as a disinfectant. Chlorination can be brought about by the use of either chlorine gas or chlorinous compounds like calcium hypochlorite and sodium hypochlorite. Any chemical you use, the active disinfectant used is the chlorine. So chlorination is the most and invariably used method of disinfection of water. Now depending upon the stage of treatment of water where we add chlorine and the expected results, various technical terms have come into existence. Okay, so the various methods or various forms of chlorination include plain chlorination, pre-chlorination, ammonia chlorine treatment, breakpoint chlorination followed by superchlorination, then chlorine dioxide treatment. There is one more method, that is double chlorination method. Now let us discuss what is plain chlorination. As the name suggests, plain chlorination means when only chlorine is added to water, no other treatment is given. So plain chlorination means addition of chlorine alone to water in slight excess of the chlorine demand. What is chlorine demand? The amount of chlorine required for complete disinfection, complete killing of microorganism, removal of odor, color, turbidity and all. So when you add only chlorine to water in the slight excess of chlorine demand to control the growth of algae and to kill bacteria, it is called plain chlorination. Plain chlorination removes organic matter and color from water. It removes algae, kills bacteria. The process is found to be satisfactory for treating clean surface water. Okay, plain chlorination is widely used for treating clean surface water, well water relatively free from impurities. The amount of chlorine added to water in plain chlorination is 0.5 ppm. ppm means parts per million. 0.5 ppm or more, and the minimum contact period is 30 minutes. Okay, after plain chlorination, 0.1 to 0.2 ppm residual chlorine is regarded as adequate for most water. What is residual chlorine? The chlorine which remains behind in water after the chlorine demand has been satisfied is called residual chlorine. So in plain chlorination we add only chlorine in the slight excess of chlorine demand, and hence 0.1 to 0.2 ppm residual chlorine is sufficient. What is the amount of chlorine added for plain chlorination? Generally 0.5 ppm or more. Contact period minimum should be 30 minutes. And it is useful in treating clean surface water. And it is generally practiced in case of emergencies, like to the military area, to the war area where we have to supply water and it's an emergency. In that case only chlorination is done and water can be supplied. The second method is pre-chlorination. Pre-chlorination is the process of addition of chlorine to water before any other treatment is given. Okay. So as the name suggests, adding chlorine before other treatments, maybe before filtration. Okay. So addition of chlorine before any other treatment is called pre-chlorination. The dose of chlorine varies from 0.1 to 0.5 ppm. What are the advantages of pre-chlorination? It improves coagulation. It removes taste and odor present in water. It controls the growth of algae. It helps in maintaining the sand bed clean. Thus the cleaning time of the filter increases, right? So pre-chlorination is addition of chlorine before any other treatment is given, maybe before filtration, sand filtration, And what is the dose? 0.1 to 0.5 ppm. It improves the process of coagulation, removes taste, odor, removes algae, and because the water has already been chlorinated and then passed into sand filters, the sand filter will remain clean for a longer time. So the cleaning time between two interval will increase. The next one is ammonia chlorine treatment. See, when chlorine alone is added to water as a disinfectant, it has been found that chlorine alone is unstable. And it has been reported that ammonia increases the efficiency of working of chlorine in water. Okay, so chlorine alone may be unstable, and hence if you mix chlorine and ammonia, the efficiency of chlorine is increased. So chlorine, when mixed with ammonia, forms compounds known as chloramines. Depending upon the pH, chlorine will combine with ammonia and form monochloramine, dichloramine and trichloramine. These chloramines are more stable and possess more disinfecting property than chlorine alone. Okay, they remove they remove odor also to some extent. The addition of 0.2 ppm of chlorine and 0.1 ppm of ammonia, okay, 0.2 ppm of chlorine plus 0.1 ppm of ammonia is equivalent to the disinfecting power of 0.6 ppm of chlorine. Okay, so chlorine alone has less efficiency as compared to ammonia plus chlorine. Right, and the dissipation of available chlorine by organic matter is also prevented. Now, you can see the certain reactions. Chlorine first combines with water to form HCl and hypochlorous acid. Then, ammonia reacts with HOCl to form monochloramine NH2Cl at pH say 7.5. The monochloramine again combine with HOCl to form dichloramine at pH 5 to 5.6. Okay, the dichloramines combine with HOCl to form trichloramine NCl3 when the pH goes below 4.4. Now, we say that chloramines are more effective than chlorine alone. Why? The increased germicidal effect is because when ammonia and chlorine are brought together, they combine to form mono-di-trichloramine depending upon the pH, that is hydrogen ion concentration. Chloramines are highly toxic and more stable than chlorine. So, ammonia chlorine treatment is more effective as compared to chlorine alone. Ammonia chlorine treatment, but we have to remember that ammonia chlorine treatment is advisable when a long contact period is possible. Okay, and where disagreeable odors, it should be disagreeable odor and taste tend to develop from chlorine alone. Okay, so for ammonia chlorine treatment we require a long contact period, and whenever there are disagreeable odors because of addition of chlorine alone, then we go for ammonia chlorine treatment. Ammonia chlorine treatment is not advisable when the contact period is small or contact time is short. Contact time should be large. Okay, what are the advantages of ammonia chlorine treatment? It is more effective than chlorine alone, number one. Number two, the effect that is produced by chloramines is persists for a longer period of time. Then there is less irritation to eyes and nose, hence it is more useful in treating water from swimming pools. Quantity of chlorine required is less and there is no danger of overdose. So ammonia chlorine treatment is preferred in swimming pools over chlorine. The next is breakpoint chlorination. Okay. The next method. Number 1, plain chlorination. Number 2, pre-chlorination. And number 3, ammonia chlorine treatment. Number 4, breakpoint chlorination, a very important one. When chlorine is added to water, a number of reactions take place in water. And amount of residual chlorine in water also changes. It either increases or decreases. So when you add chlorine to water, a number of reactions take place in water and the residual chlorine changes. Either it may increase or decrease depending upon the reactions that are taking place in water. What is residual chlorine? The amount of chlorine which is left behind after satisfaction of chlorine demand. What is chlorine demand? The amount of chlorine required for complete disinfection of water. Okay. Now, what reactions take place? Chlorine which is added to water first react with any metal ions like iron, manganese, or it reacts with H2S that may be present in water. It reacts with iron to form iron compounds, manganese, H2S that is present in water. Initially, in the beginning, the entire chlorine added will be utilized in reacting with organic compounds including bacteria. Okay, so chlorine will first react with metal ions like iron, manganese, H2S and all. The entire chlorine in the beginning again will be utilized in reacting with organic compounds and also to kill bacteria. Hence, there will be no residual chlorine. There will be no rise in residual chlorine. Is that clear? That means whatever chlorine you add in the beginning, some will be react with metal ions like iron, manganese, or it may react with H2S. Some amount of chlorine that you have added kills bacteria, reacts with organic compounds, and hence initially all the chlorine added will be utilized and no residual chlorine will be present in water because the initial chlorine demand is satisfied. Now this is shown by AB line AB in the graph. You can see here. Okay, we have plotted residual chlorine in mg per liter. Okay, residual chlorine in mg per liter is plotted on y-axis versus increasing concentration of chlorine or chlorine dose is plotted on x-axis. So initially whatever chlorine you add is utilized. So initially there is no rise in residual chlorine, that is shown by AB. Okay, A to B. So this much amount of chlorine which was added is completely utilized. That means no chlorine is left behind in water. So no chlorine residual. Okay, now what happens when you further add chlorine to water? When chlorine is further added to water and water is containing ammonia, then when you go on adding chlorine in increasing amount, in the absence of inorganic substances and the water is having chlorine demand, chlorine addition products like chloramines and chlorinated organic nitrogenous compounds are formed. Okay, so when you go on adding chlorine, because initially whatever chlorine you add will be utilized, now you go on adding chlorine because the water is having certain chlorine demand. So in increasing amount you are going on adding, and if ammonia is present in water, if other organic compounds are present in water, what will happen? Chlorine addition products will be formed. What are the chlorine addition products that are formed? Chloramines, chlorinated organic nitrogenous compounds. Now these products, that is chloramines and chloroorganic nitrogenous compounds, reach a maximum concentration at these addition products, that is chloramines or chloroorganic compounds, reach a maximum concentration at what? When the chlorine is to ammonia nitrogen ratio is approximately 5:1. Okay, they reach maximum when the chlorine to ammonia nitrogen ratio is approximately 5:1. What happens during this phase? The ammonia nitrogen concentration remains constant, but residual chlorine goes on increasing. Okay, the residual chlorine goes on increasing proportionally to the amount of chlorine added because addition products are being formed, and hence the residual chlorine goes on increasing in proportion to the amount of chlorine added, which is shown by curve BC. Okay, which is shown by curve BC. So combined residuals are formed till they reach a peak when chlorine to ammonia nitrogen ratio is 5:1. So they go on accumulating and they go on increasing, right, till it reaches 5:1. During this phase, ammonia nitrogen concentration remains constant, residual chlorine increases proportional to chlorine added. Addition of chlorine beyond 5:1 ratio results in corresponding decrease in residual chlorine. Okay, so initially no residual, then residual goes on increasing till the ratio of chlorine to ammonia nitrogen is 5:1, and if you add chlorine beyond this point, the residual chlorine will go on decreasing. Why? That is shown by curve CD on the graph. Why? Because of oxidation or destruction of chloramines and chloroorganic compounds. Okay. So till the ratio reaches 5:1, the combined residuals go on increasing, and then suddenly the destruction of chloroorganic compounds and chloramines take place, leading to reduction in the level of residual chlorine. So there is a sharp decrease. Okay, the decrease till almost the residual chlorine reaches 0, and then there is an increase. Okay. The residual chlorine approaches almost zero, that is point D on the graph. When the ratio of chlorine to ammonia nitrogen reaches 8 to 10:1. This point is called as break point. At this point, the chlorine demand is satisfied, and any chlorine that is added beyond the point D into water will remain as it is in water, and it will break through water and appear as residual chlorine. Okay. So at point D, chlorine demand is satisfied. Any chlorine added beyond this point breaks through water and appears as residual chlorine. So that point is called as residual break point. Okay. So initially AB, chlorine is utilized. Okay. And then BC, the residual combined residuals go on increasing till they reach the highest ratio of 5:1, and then suddenly destruction of chloroorganic compound and chloramines take place, and hence the residual chlorine almost approaches zero. At this point, the ratio of chlorine to ammonia nitrogen is 10:1 or 8 to 10:1. This point is called D. This point is called D, and it is break point. It is break point. Why? Because any chlorine added beyond D will break off from the water, and it will remain as it is in water as free residual chlorine. Okay. So that is chlorine demand. You can see here also chlorine residual in mg per liter. In the beginning, destruction of chlorine residual by reducing compounds, that is A. At 1 we have shown the point B, BC, the residual combined residual go on increasing. CD, the residual chlorine goes on decreasing. D is break point, and then the free residual chlorine goes on increasing beyond the break point. Okay. So that is about breakpoint chlorination. Thus, when chlorine is added to water containing ammonia in increasing amount, a rise will occur in the residual chlorine, more or less proportional to the amount of chlorine. With the further addition of chlorine, a drop will occur in the residual chlorine. With still further addition of chlorine, a new rise will occur in residual proportional to chlorine added. When these residual chlorine concentration are plotted against amount of chlorine added, a curve is obtained with a hump followed by a dip. Okay, with a hump followed by a dip. Okay, the bottom of the dip is what is the bottom of the dip? The bottom of the dip is break point. The bottom of the dip is break point. Okay, the bottom of the dip is break point. That is all about break point chlorination. Now there are three major factors which govern the bactericidal efficiency of free chlorine and chloramines. What are the three factors? The time of contact. The longer the time of contact, the more efficient is the germicidal action. Okay, longer the time of contact, more efficient is the germicidal action of chlorine. Temperature of water. The higher the temperature, the more effective is the disinfection process. The pH of the water. If the pH is too high, the disinfection by chlorine is less efficient. Now, what are the different advantages of breakpoint chlorination? What are the advantages? Number one, destruction of practically all type of bacteria growing in water within a few minutes instead of hours that is required in other methods. Okay, because you are adding chlorine in, you go on adding chlorine in increasing amounts. So almost all type of bacteria are killed. Control of algal growth because of high free available chlorine residuals. Reduction in the taste, odor, color which is originally present in water, or those which is arising because of less amount of chlorine added. It helps in coagulation. It aids to coagulation, especially if ferrous sulfate is used as a coagulating agent. It brings about oxidation of manganese compounds prior to settling or filtration. It removes color or bleaches color present in water. It brings about oxidation of ammonia. It helps in preventing aftergrowth of algae in pipelines or aftergrowth of bacteria in pipelines, because residual chlorine is present. It will not allow aftergrowth in pipeline. It inhibits biological growth. It minimizes red water and black water complaint. It brings about deodorization of industrial waste. Okay, so that is all about breakpoint chlorination. Now, the other methods of chlorination are superchlorination, double chlorination, and chlorine dioxide treatment. That we will discuss in next lecture.